Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of See Me Yonder Through with Monty. About a day ago, I did a video on Miss Stacy Dash and her apparent, seemingly lack of self-identity. I did a video covering how she identifies as mixed or multiracial, even though both of her parents are black. Now, this seems to be somewhat, maybe a little more common in the entertainment industry / Hollywood, because today we're going to see how Shar Jackson wants to belong to the same club. And if you pay attention, you're going to see a lot of similarities. We all know Shar Jackson from the early days of the Moesha show, and I forget which characters she plays. But right away, you can clearly see some similarities right here with the lighter colored eyes, either a weave or wig that's straight hair that does not come from black people. This is a better look right there. Much better look. The light colored eyes I'm not really digging. Not that I'm against them. I just think that when you have darker colored eyes, if they're your natural eyes, I just think that you should be proud of them. Here she is right here. Shar Jackson. Now, I want you to look at this right here. There's some people who said this. The problem is that people always feel like they need to be mixed and act like there's something wrong with being just black, when there's not. She's a black girl with two black parents, but of course, someone had to list other ethnicities that probably only make up about 15% of her DNA. At the most, in order for her to be seen as more exotic or to appeal to the masses. That's very true. For most black people, the admixtures would be about around 15%. So let's go down a little further where it's circled in yellow. She black. And someone goes on to say, she black. Please, people, there's nothing wrong with being just black. I promise. And I promise you, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I have a problem with that, which is why I'm doing the video. Here goes again right here. Shar Jackson, who is black, Native American, Puerto Rican, Mexican, has two multicultural children with ex-fiance Kevin Federline. Okay, where did all this Native American, Puerto Rican, Mexican come in at? That's strange. I would like to know, when she auditioned for the role of Moesha, did she make a claim that she was biracial then or mixed then? Because that was clearly a role for a black girl or black actress. Let's move on. Trump's America. 19 celebs with Mexican heritage who could be targets. Now you see Lupita Nyong'o on there. She does have Mexican heritage in the sense of that she was born in Kenya, but she moved to Mexico at an early age. With Lupita's case, though, I've never heard her say that she's half Mexican, biracial, or mixed. That's a nationality thing. Unlike someone like a Stacey Dash to the right there, or Miss Shar Jackson today. And here she is. She comes up there on number 14 of 20. The Moesha actress is 1/4 Mexican from her father's side. The rest of her genealogy is black, Native American, and Puerto Rican. Okay, if you're a quarter, why do you even need to mention that? That's just as bad as me saying that I'm part German. Little history. I had a great grandmother who was from Germany. Her name was Lila Tarpley. And I had a friend of mine at the gym. His name was Fred Bustandi. I used to work out with him. And he was actually German from both sides. And he said the name Lila Tarpley sounds German Jewish. Okay, that's just several generations back. That would be foolish of me to make a claim that, oh, I'm black, Native American, and German. That's so far removed. What would the German show up in me today? 5%? Maybe less? Do I feel German? No. Is that part of my heritage? Not really. I don't speak German. I don't eat German food. I wasn't born there. I mean, you can say, obviously, yeah, there may be a tinkling of a mixture there. But it would be foolish and self-hatred for me to make a claim of that. It really would. I don't feel a connection towards German people. However, if I were to see someone German, regardless if they're German, Jewish, black, whatever, drowning or in danger, I would try to save them. But a connection, no. Now here's her mother. She has no pictures of her father. But I do want to go back to this claim about Native American, Puerto Rican, and Mexican. Puerto Rican could be black. A Native American, most black people claim that. What is it, 2%, 3%? Usually it's just nothing but white. But then again, why even mention all of that? Seriously, just like the person that mentioned, people act like there's something wrong with being just black. It doesn't make her, to me, any more exotic. It doesn't make her any more desirable. But those are traits in her head when people do stuff like this. Here's her mother right there. Black female. Here's her mother right there. To me, not mixed. She may have some admixtures in her from way back when, but not mixed. But she said it on her father's side. But remember, she doesn't show her father. So I'm going to call BS on that. This is a black girl. She has two black parents. We need to stop making a claim from several generations back because they can have some type of drop of mixtures that somehow that makes us mixed, multicultural, or biracial. It does not. We look foolish doing that. In the case of Stacey Dash, in the case of Shar Jackson here, once again, had she would have just embraced being a black actress, being proud of being black, maybe your career would have been much more successful. And you're going to follow me and see what I mean. This is one of the few, pictures that she have with dark-colored eyes. This picture right here, dark-colored eyes, early days of Moesha, I believe. This picture right here is one of the few. The rest, she did something to her eyes, and I'll explain later. Here's her grandmother right there. And I tried to darken it so you can see her features. Obviously, a light-skinned black woman. Look the same as many of our grandmothers do, seriously. But she claims it's from her father's side. You know, Char looking like that. No, your father's not mixed. Really? You know, we wonder why some people have a problem with us because we have a problem with ourselves. We're not proud of who we are. We don't really stand in our blackness. Here she is right there with the extra weave on that's of the hair of another race of people there. Here she is with her colored eyes right there. Here she is with blue contact lenses that she frequently wears, that she's been wearing for decades now. See, when people make this mixed stuff, or where they go out of their way, particularly if they're black, they claim that we're this, we're that, it's because there's some type of shame. There's some type of disconnect. There's some type of inferiority complex that is truly going on. You got the contact lenses, you got the hair of another race of people, and I guess you see yourself as being beautiful looking like this. Look at this right here. This is not anything long ago. But when you start doing things like this, I just do not believe that you can claim to be proudly black. Obviously, there's some type of conflict going on there. Now, I mentioned to you about her eyes. Either these are contact lenses. I'm going to say either, or she opted for the opti transplant. She may have a transplant in her eyes, just like what Tiny did. See there? She could have gone to that extreme. When you have that type of self-hatred, you will go the extreme of risking blindness. That looks like it could be the implant that she got, but we all know that she was not born with that eye color. And when you start doing green eyes, you need to be blue and things like that. How does that not show insecurity with oneself? You're buying into the dogma that Eurocentric, the lighter colored hair, the straight hair, the lighter colored eyes is more desirable, more beautiful. Here she is during her Moesha days. Okay, the hair's a little better. It's more curlier. But really, she doesn't look any more mixed or biracial than Brandy does. Okay, sure. People ask, okay, Jackson was born is, first of all, it goes right here. I'm sorry. People ask, is Shar Jackson black? That's ridiculous. That is truly ridiculous. Even, question mark on that. Jackson was born in Boston, Massachusetts. Her mother is of mixed African American Puerto Rican descent. Okay, so she said that both of her parents, her mother and father, are mixed. Her mother is not mixed. We've seen her mother. Puerto Ricans could be black. If your mother is a black Puerto Rican, then why claim Puerto Rican? When people do this right there, they point it out, they're trying to differentiate between races. She wants people to think that she's somehow of a different ethnicity. Now, I have stated that they have complexities with being black and inferiority complexes. Here she is, she's dated white men in the past. But in my opinion, with the straight hair, the long hair, the lighter colored eyes, she's probably trying to compete with white women. Maybe she feels an inferiority with white women. So she feels like she has to compete with them to get their man. And remember, her ex-fiance was Kevin Federline, who dumped her for Britney Spears. So I'm sure that did not help her self-esteem. Kevin says, I've been really selfish. K-Fed apologizes on TV to ex-fiance, that's Shar Jackson, for dumping her for Britney while she was pregnant. So I'm sure that played a number on her. But it should not have. But it played a number on her, and she allowed it because she looked at white men as being superior. So when you look at white men as being superior, you try to market yourself to them what they really like. And what most white men prefer are white women. So in essence right there, she tries to make herself closer to that as she possibly can. It's the exact same way with Stacey Dash. Here she is right there. Two biracial children. You see that? That's a common denominator. Her and Stacey Dash both have biracial children. Both of them are claiming to be mixed biracial when they're not. And I say they're not because for you to be mixed or biracial, one of your parents should be identifiable as being of another race. Many people like this, as I told you, have these complexities, these inferiority issues, and they deliberately go out there to create biracial children. I believe a lot of them want children to look the way in which they wish they had looked, or they want their children to get the attention that they never had. Here she is with 3 children. Now, interestingly enough, the daughter to the right is black. Because right there, both her kids are beautiful. But the daughter right there is by a light-skinned black man or lighter colored black man. I believe this is him right here. Corey Jackson. She was married for a couple of years to a Corey Jackson after K-Fed years later. And he's an actor, animator, voiceover, something like that. When I looked up Corey Jackson, I'm like 90% sure this is him. However, when I looked up Corey Jackson's, these guys popped up also. These are Corey Jackson's too. But interestingly enough, her daughter nor her have any pictures of him, which signifies probably a bad breakup. But if you look at him very good, Corey right here, same eyes. You can see a similarity between him and her. And the Corey she was married to was once an actor. He does voiceover work. He's in the entertainment industry. And this guy is too. So I would almost say this is the guy who's the father of her baby here, who she was once married to. But that's neither here nor there. Because after that marriage, she went right back to doing this.
Gramley, so listen, I need you guys to get ready, okay? Because the travel wave is coming and you don't want to miss it. So read the caption and comment below.
See, one would have thought that if she was married to a black man, had a child by a black man, that it would have been some type of wake up call, that she would have gotten some type of sense, a stronger identity of her blackness, of her being a black woman. But no, did you see that video? Really, this is a recent picture too. She's still there. She's not going too far to the black side. And people like her, people like Stacey Dash, I bet you would never see them in an afro. No, that's way too black for them. So I don't know how long Shar Jackson's black phase lasted. And maybe her self esteem was just so low that she just grabbed onto any man who wanted her. Hopefully that wasn't the case, but when you're doing stuff like this, your self esteem cannot be that high. And interestingly enough, here's her daughter with Corey. Beautiful girl. Sometimes you have to be very concerned about the children with the parents passing that type of self-hatred off to them. But look at her daughter. This is a triumph story. No really light makeup on, no light colored eyes, no hair straightened. And if you go to her Instagram, she's very natural looking. So it's great that she's her own woman and that this type of insecurity that Shar displays was not passed on to her daughter. By the way, Shar seems like to me that she would be a great mother. It just seems like that she has issues within herself. Many times people who display these insecurity issues, lack of confidence, inferiority complexes, it doesn't mean that they're going to be a bad parent. That's just something that they need to work on. And this right here to me, I don't know her at all, but just by facially looking at her is a success story. So maybe her father also was in her life, which I'm sure he was. You would hope so. But, you know, you have to look at this and kind of clap your hands to something that came out of this situation with Shar Jackson. Even though she didn't make it, and it's still not too late for her to get a stronger mindset, to get a stronger self-identity of who she is as a black woman, to realize that you do not need light-colored eyes, continually and constantly wear straight hair, the straight hair of other women, in order to be beautiful, acceptable, and desirable. Many times, women like this in the entertainment industry miss out on roles, they miss out on opportunities because by claiming all this admixture, you confuse people. Sometimes people do not know what category to put you in, and that works against you. And doing stuff like this, I have said, to me, it brings a curse upon you. In a sense of that, think of your mother. I do not believe that her mother's claiming mixtures are to be mixed or biracial. I don't even think that her grandmother is. I don't think her father is. But how proud can you be of your parents, your grandparents, when you're giving them an identity that they do not identify with? You're claiming a lineage that they don't even identify with. Now, I don't know them, but I know that for a lot of people who claim as black people, their parents don't necessarily claim it. In the entertainment industry, people do this because they think it makes them more interesting, more exotic, more beautiful, more accepting. But it doesn't. It doesn't make you more accepting. It doesn't make you more successful. All you have to do is look at Angela Bassett, look at Viola Davis, look at Regina King. Those are actresses who are black, and look at how successful they are. Imagine if they were to start saying, I'm mixed or biracial. They might not be as successful. So adding these attributes to your identity, in my opinion, particularly when you are black and you look black and you are identifiable as black, It does more harm than good. It makes you look really foolish, insecure, lack of self esteem, lack of self confidence, all of those negative things. And you really have to wonder, life is no guarantee. Life can be very short. If I were to die tomorrow, what will my legacy be? Will it be someone who was ashamed of the core and the essence of who they were as a black woman? People, I will leave it at that. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another edition of Sin Beyond and Through with Monty, and I will see you all beyond and through.